I'm Jessica Ryan Keeney. I'm a family law attorney. I am licensed to practice law in the state of California. I'm also a child support attorney for the Department of Child Support Services in 2 small California counties. Today I'm going to run you through a quick child support calculation. We're using the free Guideline child support calculator on the Department of Child Support Services website. It's a California website. And I've got the link in the description below. So my quick warning is every situation is a little bit different. Some of what I go through here may not be applicable to your situation. I am not giving you legal advice. I am just doing this for educational purposes. If you have questions about your particular situation, then you need to speak to an attorney who's not me to see how to handle it in your situation. That being said, if you have questions, you can post them in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. I will not give legal advice, though. I'll just tell you how I see others handle the situation or how I've handled the situation, and then you have to figure out what's the proper way to handle the situation for you. Okay, so we start here. Number of children is 1. This scenario is loosely based on a couple of income and expense declarations I did in prior videos. So if you have more than 1 child, you'll put in the number of children in this family law case that you have with this parent. Okay, now we need to say how much time this child spends with each parent. Well, the parties have 50-50, but we need to... A lot of times we need to give one party 49.9. I typed 50. We'll see what the calculator is going to do with this. In private family law cases, we'll give the parent who doesn't claim the child on taxes 49.9%. Anyway, I typed in 50 here. So here we have parent 1 on the left-hand side, parent 2 on the right-hand side. On your DCSS paperwork, you'll often see NCP on the left. That stands for non-custodial parent. And then CP on the right, that stands for custodial parent. The non-custodial parent is what Department of Child Support Services calls the parent that has to pay child support. So we're going to start with the tax year. It's tax year 2020. Federal tax filing status. This isn't the dependents you claim on your pay stubs. This is what you actually claim when you file your taxes. So we know from looking at Dad's income and expense declaration that he files as single, and we know from Mom's that she is remarried. So we click here on this drop-down menu and we select married filing jointly, not with parent 1. And we know that Mom has 3 exemptions: herself, her new spouse, and the child of Mom and Dad, in this case, Terry. Both parties live in the state of California and file taxes in California, so we don't need to change anything here. If we did, say someone lived in Nevada or some other state, we could change various tax settings by hitting this arrow over here on the far left next to other tax settings, but we're going to move on. So now we have monthly income. Well, Dad is self-employed. I'm turning to page 2 of Dad's income and expense declaration. Normally, I don't rely on what people put in their income and expense declarations because I find a lot of people don't know how to calculate their income. I even mess up sometimes, which is why I like to have people proof my work, and I like to run the calculation a couple different times for how much income the parties have. I just turned to page 2 of Mom's income and expense declaration as well. Now, because I created both of these, I'm going to rely on what I actually wrote on page 2 of each income and expense declaration. Dad is self-employed, so his income is actually going to go here. It says there's a heading, calculate wages and salary. Right below it is self-employment income. So I'm going to go over to Dad's box and I'm going to put in how much he makes. Now we have to round up to the nearest dollar. So Dad makes $46,0969 a month. We're going to round up to $4,610 because the change of Dad's average monthly income is over 50 cents. If it were under 50 cents, we would round down to the nearest dollar. Now, Mom is not self-employed, and we have a pay stub for her. So we could just enter the monthly amount of wages that Mom earns here next to monthly. But when I have somebody that isn't salary, makes a little bit different amount of money each pay period, I like to use the year to date. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to press the plus sign on the calculate wages and salary. I'm going to select month, click on monthly, and it brings up a drop down menu, and this is under Mom's category column. I'm going to go down to year to date. Now I come down a little bit further, and this here is the amount of year to date income. I'm going to find this on Mom's pay stub. And I see that the year-to-date income is $33,362.50. So that's 50 cents. I'm going to round up to the nearest dollar for $33,363. And now I need to enter the year-to-date period. So the year-to-date period that's captured by the most recent pay stub actually started the year before, and it started in 12/29/2018, and it ends on 7/12/19. So I entered the start of the year-to-date and the end of the year-to-date, and now the Guideline calculator will calculate Mom's average monthly income for me. You don't have to do it this way, but I like to, and it's how I like to see the case managers in my office calculate income when they have a year-to-date total. So I'm going to keep scrolling down. Neither party has any additional income, so we don't need to worry about unemployment or disability. I see another heading, other taxable income. Well, I go down the list. There's no other taxable income that the parties have, but you can see the various options. I know that the parties don't have any other untaxable income, but if they did, I would put it here. New spouse, wages, salary. So Mom is remarried. We need to put her new spouse's income here. I turn to page 3 of the income and expense declaration, and I find that her new spouse's income is $5,000 a month. Now just below, and Dad's not remarried, so we don't need to put his spouse's income. Don't freak out. Support is not going to be based on the new spouse's income. This is plugged into the calculation so that the calculator can figure out what the party's net income is after taxes. Now we're going to come here and we're going to expand the box for new spouse, other income, and deductions. And you can see the other income options and deduction options that we could plug into the calculator. In this case, we don't have that information. It's sometimes really nice for me as a child support attorney to see the pay stubs of the new spouse, but I usually don't have that benefit. But I want you to see that box. Now here we have public assistance and child support received. We're going to open this up. If either party were receiving public assistance, we would enter it into this box here on the left side for Dad, on the right side for Mom. If either party is receiving child support for a child from a different relationship, we're going to enter that information in these boxes too. Now this usually freaks people out, because you will probably know that public assistance and child support is not considered income. I want these numbers entered in here because it gives the court the full picture of the financial situation of the parties. It will also help the court determine whether or not they should be giving a hardship deduction for children from another relationship. But we don't have this in our case, so we're going to move on. Next, we have monthly deduction information. Child support paid. So if either party paid child support in another relationship, we'd enter it here. It's not the case in this situation. Spousal support paid this relationship. If either party were paying spousal support in this relationship, we'd enter it here, but that's not the case either. But now we have some other fields that are going to be applicable to us. So we have property tax. Well, we know from looking at Mom's income and expense declaration that she has property taxes of $100 a month. Dad doesn't have any. Mom has mortgage interest of $500 a month. I probably needed to do qualified business income for Dad because he's self-employed, but I told you this was going to be a simple calculation, so we're not going to get into qualified business income right now. That'll be for another video. So keep in mind that qualified business income is going to change the calculation a little, but I'm not prepared to discuss it right now. Now, neither party has union dues. We want to know about health insurance. How much do they pay for their health insurance? So again, I usually look to the pay stubs for this. Now, Dad pays $300 a month, so I enter that in his column. And Mom pays $1,210 a month. And both of these are pre-tax, so we want to be sure to click the pre-tax button. And you know this because I told you so, but that's something you're going to want to look at when you're looking at pay stubs is this pre-tax? Other health insurance, we don't have that in this party, or in this case, so we're going to go on. Mandatory retirement, so this is stuff like pensions, not 401ks or 403bs. Neither party has a mandatory retirement, so we're going to go on to other retirement contribution. Okay, so we're going to see if the parties have voluntary retirements. Dad says he doesn't. And Mom says that she puts $100 a month into an IRA. So we want to know, is this a Roth IRA or your standard IRA, being, is it tax deferred money or non-tax deferred money? We're going to say that hers is going to be tax deferred. So we're going to put $100 here into tax deferred voluntary retirement for Mom. And if you had a 401k or a 403b or something of that nature, that would also go into voluntary retirement. Now we're going to go down to job-related expenses and spousal support for other relationships. Necessary job-related expenses. I don't see any for Dad, and I don't see any for Mom. So I'm going to move on. I discussed when I usually see those in the videos about income and expense declarations. If either party is paying spousal support for another relationship, that information would be entered here. And some spousal support is tax deductible and some is not. So if yours is tax deductible, then you'll want to uncheck the box for non-tax deductible. We don't need to deal with that in this situation. We're going to move on. Other itemized deductions. So we've got deductible interest expense, other medical expenses. So Dad says that he pays $50 a month. Mom says that she pays $100 a month. Now in this situation, both parents tell us that they have an ambulance bill that they're working on paying off. I would want more information about how much they're actually paying on that ambulance bill so that I could enter that information into the calculation, but I don't have that information right now. So I'm going to move on and assume that what they put in their income and expense declaration is accurate. Here we have other tax deductions. I don't have any others to put here. Alternative minimum tax information, state adjustments. There's a whole bunch of options here. I'm not going to put any of those into my calculation because they don't apply. Extraordinary health and catastrophic loss. So this is where we could put the ambulance bill if I had information about how it was being paid, but I don't. So we're going to move on. And remember, these are monthly expenses here. Hardship children. So if mom or dad had children from another relationship, I would be asking, should they be getting a hardship? And it's ultimately up to the court to award the hardship. So what I see happen a lot is, let's say mom has a child from another relationship and she doesn't get child support from that child, from that child's parent, and that child's parent doesn't live with her, then I would give her one hardship deduction. If dad had I'm just using mom and dad as an example. Let's say dad had a child from another relationship and the parent of that child were living with him, I may give him no hardship deductions. I may give him a half. Really depends on the culture of the county, and it's ultimately up to the judge. But neither parent here has a child from another relationship, so we're going to move on. If they did have children from another relationship, we could enter more information here. Okay, so now we have monthly child support add-ons. We're going to expand this. This is parent 1. So I want to know, how much does he pay for child care per month? I can find that in section 13C of the income and expense declaration on page 3. I can also find it on page 4 in section 18A. So section 18A applies to children from this relationship only, whereas the section on page 3 is the total bill. These parents only have one child, so both pages should match, but I'm going to use the figure on page 4. Now, typically with the Department of Child Support Services, we want proof of the actual child care cost. And remember, this is child care so that you can get job training or work. So it's not so that you can go shop at Home Depot in peace without your child. It's not so that you can go grocery shopping with your child. It's for work and it's for job training. So I entered here, child care cost for dad is $450 a month, and then his travel expenses, he says that those are $20 a month. And he says that his uninsured health care expenses for this child are $10 a month. So I've entered all of those. Now I'm going to expand the box for parent 2, which is mom. I'm going to flip to page 4 of mom's income and expense declaration. And she pays $1,100 a month for child care so that she can work or get job training. So I entered that. She has $100 in travel expenses for visitation. The child's young, so neither parent has school expenses, so I move on. She says her child's health care costs not covered by insurance are $20 a month. And here we're going to allocate the child care add-ons as 50-50. And that's pretty typical. Sometimes there will be a different order or a different agreement, but we're just dealing with the situation where the parents are equally sharing work-related child care costs, travel for visitation, and uninsured health care costs. Low income adjustment does not apply. Neither parent is a low income earner, and we're not doing a temporary spousal support calculation. So now I hit calculate support, and I hope that it didn't take me too long, otherwise it will time out. So here we go. Now we see the results. Child support results, monthly support totals. And it shows that parent 1 is paying $374 a month in child support, and that's base child support of $4 a month. The parents make pretty close to the same amount of money, so I would expect a low child support amount. And then we've got the child care add-ons. So that's how we get to $374. We can keep scrolling through the report and we can learn a lot of information about the parties. We see their net disposable income after, well, their monthly net disposable income, monthly net disposable income after support. We can just keep going down and we can learn more about the parties. Now we're going to want to print our results, so we're going to click View Printable Results. And it's going to bring up this other screen. You can do a couple things with this. You can save it to PDF or print it to PDF, or you can print it in hard copy. Now, I like, when I'm doing a private case, I like to put a support calculation on my motion seeking support or on my responsive declaration. And as a child support attorney, the case managers in my offices always attach a calculation to their motion. This helps the court, this helps the other parties, and this is the results page that I would print out and attach to my motion. There you go. We've now done a child support calculation. So there are a bunch of nuances that I could have gone through, but I just wanted to run you through a quick calculation. Thank you for sticking with me.